What up? Everybody, it's a Manic Monday, and you got your boy Jeff, you got your boy Migs. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's a Manic Monday. We are all so blessed because it is everybody's favorite time of the basketball year. You know what it is. It's the NBA playoffs, and myself and Migs. Boy will not be joining us tonight. He has to do a little bit of adulting still, and we can't blame him. You know, you got to do what you got to do. Much respect to Popo Navarro. And boy, whenever you're ready to come back on the show, we'll be more than happy to welcome you with open arms, right? And again,
bumalik ka na sa amin, Poy. Bumalik ka na sa amin. Please, Poy.
Natagalag mo pa.
Basta na.
See, that's what happens when you watch too much Mikey Reyes, right?
Yeah.
All right, so it's a Manic Monday, and the reason why I say that is because over the past couple of days, it's been an absolute crazy set of days for the National Basketball Association. Today included, the playoffs have begun. We're going to take a look at some of the top games that have occurred over the past couple of days. But before that, Migs, who do you want to give a mad shout out to? Who do you want to show some love?
Oh, yeah. Definitely big love to all our consistent viewers. Huh? Salamat kayo because you have not given up on us. Thank you to Aika because there are posts na Aika's the only one who likes. It's such a pity right. Aika, thank you. And your 600 Facebook accounts, Aika. Huh?
Exactly. Where would we be without Aika's 600 Facebook account? So mad love always to Aika. And of course, to all our loyal viewers who always stay tuned into the show every Monday and Wednesday. To Jaff Boy. It's your boy Jaff, sorry, it's your boy Migs. We're about to take off here. Manic couple of days. Been very intense, to say the least. And the reason why I say that is because, well, again, the NBA playoffs are here. There's nothing better than NBA playoff basketball. A couple of games that in our Friday fill, I wanted to review, and I did review, and we came up with these games simply because they were the matchups to look at. The first game I want to cover, Migs, is, of course, the Lakers and the Phoenix Suns. Earlier today, the Phoenix Suns got the W, 99-90. A lot of people, even Vegas bettors, have the Lakers winning this. They're for the first time in NBA history, and I think the first time in Las Vegas betting history, a 7th seed in the National Basketball Association playoff picture is actually betted to be the favorite against the 2 seed. Where have you ever seen that before? Again, we talked about this last week. The Lakers are no ordinary 7th seed for the most part. Before LeBron James and Anthony Davis were hit by injuries, before this team was rampaged with injuries, they were the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. There is that air of this is an actual number 2 seed. So this matchup that you're seeing with the Suns and Lakers, it is sort of like a battle between 2 seeds, not necessarily 7 and 2. The Suns came out on top. You, as the resident Laker fan on this show, talk to me about what the Lakers did wrong. Where did it really go bad for them, and what got Phoenix into the thick of things and really gave them the W?
I watched this game live. Huh? I mean, I woke up at 3 a.m. to watch the Lakers Suns. Yeah, it was at 3. I think 3:30.
Okay.
And it's of course it upsets me they didn't win, that the Lakers lost. But it's still, I mean, I appreciate a good game, and it was still a good game considering. But AD is back to his inefficient self.
Right.
He's shooting too many jumpers. And this is what happened in the playoffs last year. Look at all the games that they lost, and a big factor was a big factor in those losses was AD's lack of aggressiveness. So I think he has to assert himself more early in the game.
Yeah,
and he's playing against smaller defenders. Jay Crowder was guarding him, Mikal Bridges at times, Dario Saric at times. Take advantage of that, AD. I mean, don't bail them out by shooting from the outside.
Exactly.
And way too much Drummond, Jeff. Way too much
Drummond.
Andre Drummond for this game.
Odd. Phoenix Suns are kind of big. Way too much Andre Drummond, really? We're gonna go with that?
No, man. Way too much Andre Drummond because he was clogging up the lane too much. It kind of forced AD to shoot from the outside. And then I don't know if you've noticed that, but Andre Drummond does not have good hands on offense. I mean, he grabs rebounds really well. Yeah,
he's bad
hands, terrible hands. I mean, we remember Dwight Howard. I mean, Dwight Howard's problem was always that he'd catch it very well, but then he'd bring it down Every time he was in the low
And
post,
he
he
wouldn't
bring
be able
it
to get it back
down.
up.
Yeah, I mean, when he
Yeah.
brought it up, it would be stripped. But at least with Dwight Howard, there was a chance na ma-foul siya. Like Andre Drummond, man, he just loses the ball. And then, Frank Vogel has to do a better job of putting, and Andre Drummond has to do a better job of working early, and like establishing position down low, so that all he has to do is catch the fucking ball and go up. Like that's
Right,
all he
right.
should do.
Okay, so I actually also reviewed the game a little bit. I thought it was a couple of things. Number one, LeBron James will do LeBron James, but you're right about one thing. Anthony Davis really needs to step up. And when I say step up, the Lakers and Charles Barkley made a very good review of this on Inside the NBA. He said it's not like you can just turn it on and turn it off whenever you want. That's not how basketball works. You can't be complacent one day and just say, "Oh, you know what, LeBron can probably get like 30 and 39-9, and then I'll be able to get like 12-5-5, and we'll be able to win still." No, Anthony Davis to me at times, more so than you think, LeBron James actually takes games off, and I kind of get mad thinking about that because between you and LeBron James, who has the right to take a game off? Okay, maybe LeBron because he's almost 40 years old. He's kind of in the right to say like, okay, maybe I'll take a game off and then I can coast for a little bit. Number two, I mean, it just goes to show that in the NBA and in any basketball game in particular, or any league whatsoever, it's a consistent theme of basketball. You just cannot be too complacent. You don't know your enemy. And in this case, the Phoenix Suns, they're number 2 seed in the Western Conference for a reason. They played really well throughout the NBA season, and they've earned the right to actually be a favorite going in this series, but they didn't. And I'm pretty sure they heard a lot of this talk where, again, the Lakers are the favorites to win this, even if the Phoenix Suns are the number 2 seed. They're not intimidated by the Lakers. I think Charles Barkley also touched on this really well. No one is afraid of the Lakers. Wants to knock them out. That's the thing with these Lakers. Everybody is gunning for Suns first round or whoever they face in the rounds after that. Every team wants to knock you out. Everybody wants to be the one to say, I beat LeBron James on the path to the NBA championship. And ultimately that's what all these teams are gunning for. And again, Anthony Davis to me, he does this a lot to himself in the Lakers. It's not even like what the defense does because DeAndre Ayton is not a great defender. Jay Crowder is a good defender, but he's not big enough to defend AD. Those are facts. Mikal Bridges as well is not big enough even to defend LeBron James. But yet, in those situations where Anthony Davis would be cross-matched with either Jay Crowder or Mikal Bridges, he didn't take advantage. I think that Anthony Davis has like Shaq level power, where not really Shaq, the strength of Shaq, but has the ability to muscle these guys into the paint. But he never did that. He never asserted himself like towards the end of the Golden State play-in game where it was just like, give me the ball and I'll just sky over everybody and I'll dunk it. Like that was what he did. He just got the ball and if you're going to try and block me, okay, try and block me, but I'm going to go up so hard with this ball and just put it through the rim. We didn't see a lot of that. Again, it's this thing where he bails out the defense because he tries to overthink the game too much, I believe. He shoots a lot of jumpers. He misses a lot of them. He's not super aggressive. He's not getting to the line, which I thought is super big, which I think, is super big for Anthony Davis. He has to get to the line. He has to make free throws because he is one of the best shooting big men from the free throw line in NBA history, actually. Not just within his time, but in NBA history, he's one of the best. I thought it was too lackluster in this game. Are we going to expect some more of this heading into game 2?
Yeah, it seems that the Lakers have an intensity problem, diba? Like they don't seem to have that fire in them.
They do.
Which is
it's ridiculous.
And you said it best, no? No, LeBron sometimes checks out of games. Like he checks out in the first half and then goes back in it in the second half, but by then, labaw na ang Suns, no? They're up by big and so. But yeah, I think in game 2, I think we're going to see a gradual decrease in Drummond's minutes. And then, I hope to see a lot more Montrez, a lot more Marc Gasol. Because Marc Gasol, I know he's slow, he's older now. But at least when you put him when you put him in, you have another playmaker on the floor. He can still stretch the floor. And he doesn't take away anything from AD. Diba? So, even, and I'm wondering if there's anything wrong with Markieff Morris. Because we have not seen him. We didn't see him in the Hornets game. We didn't see him in the Warriors game, so it's and Markieff Morris was a vital cog in their run last year because he gave them a lot of,
and he was towards the end of the year.
Yeah, and he gave them a lot of flexibility in the 4 spot. So I just hope that next game they play with a lot more energy. But then again, the Suns, the Suns did such a great job of controlling the pace of the game right from the get-go. Like, they knew they were the fresher team. And then, like, they
in a way,
they practically made Schroeder take too many dribbles. And who would have thought? Who would have thought that it was the Suns out rebounding the Suns would out rebound the Lakers by 13. Like, they were up 30-43 in rebounds. Like, DeAndre Ayton was legit dominating the paint. What? I mean, against AD, Drummond, LeBron? I mean, who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Again, it just speaks a lot to the Lakers, really. Because, you see the lineup. LeBron James isn't actually, it's like Father Time can't seem to get a grip of LeBron James. And when you see him play, oftentimes you still get the idea that he can go for another 2 or 3, maybe 4 seasons before he'll call it quits. And in this game, he didn't actually show that he was slowing down. It's just that when you see LeBron sometimes in the open court, you just wish he was a little bit more aggressive. You'd wish that he'd really look like old vintage LeBron. And I can actually legitimately say vintage because in the past, LeBron James, whether it was 2 or 3 people ahead of him in transition, he'd be able to sky over all 3 of these defenders and just go up for like a hotly contested layup. Guys would literally have to grab him on the floor just to stop him. Nowadays, you can actually just unless it's one-on-one, LeBron will not take that anymore like he used to, which was just so overwhelming in the past. But again, this speaks a lot to the Lakers where they just don't play to the standard that they're supposed to be playing. And what I mean by that is, again, the intensity is not there from the get-go. The other team is locked in for 48 minutes. That's number 2. The Lakers, they look like they're out of it from the start. And then, you know what, let's turn it on. And then, we'll make a bit of a run. They did that with the Warriors. And the problem with the Warriors was that was one guy. You only had the game plan for one guy. Wiggins had a fairly good game. Draymond Green was having a single-triple kind of game. But then again, the only source of offense there was Stephen Curry. With the Suns, you have a bit more of a problem because you got Booker, you got a guy like Mikal Bridges who's more than willing to space it out. Again, an explosive scorer like Booker, Chris Paul, who's more than capable of getting his own set of points as well. DeAndre Ayton, who is low-key very consistent, 19-10 or 19-12 every game. So you know what you're going to get with these guys. And your job as the Lakers are, if you can just focus for a full 48 and not really give a lot of Laker fans a heart attack, then you're good. You shut everybody up. Because really, when it comes to LeBron James, it's just all about shutting everybody up because the noise gets so loud when there's an L. It's just so loud and it's so annoying. And everything that he does is always put under a microscope, regardless and irrespective of whatever it may be. But that's the Suns and the Lakers. I want to talk about the next game that was reviewed on the Friday, Phil. The Sixers and the Wizards. Super, super interesting game from start to finish. I thought it was super funny to watch Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook against Joel Embiid, making fun of Joel Embiid. As we all know, Joel Embiid is always a big, he's really big on antics and he's really big on, trying to rile the crowd up. And I thought it was super fun to watch Beal and Westbrook not back down at all from Joel Embiid. I thought that it was just like, okay, this is one of those playoff series that will probably go 6 or 7, and you're going to see a lot of heat, just a lot of heat. Talking about the Sixers and the Wizards, what were your key takeaways from that game?
Like, Bradley Beal was pure comedy, like mocking Joel Embiid every time Joel Embiid complained about a non-call. But again, like all game ones, they're all feeling out games, diba? So I mean, and Philadelphia has such a luxury of having like a borderline all-star as their third best guy, because not a lot of teams have that.
Tobias Harris.
I mean, yeah. But to tell you the truth, I don't expect it to be this close in the next 3 games. Just because
I do.
No, man. But I'm just looking at the Sixers, and it's just better coaching, better personnel, and they have more guys. They have more. I mean, their second 5 or at least their bench guys plus one of either Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid, and that's still a pretty good team. And I think whatever lineup the Sixers have is always going to be better than whatever lineup the Wizards have. But and this is a big but, huh? And they do not lie. Okay, and Philly's biggest challenge, like big butts and wait, never mind. Okay, so like Philly's biggest challenge is to overcome the complacency. Because everyone's expecting them to win. And from day one of the play-in, they were projected na they're gonna face the Wizards 1-8. Like everyone was saying that the Phillies gonna win, so they're just gonna steamroll them. But Philadelphia should be reminded. I think and think Game 1 was a good reminder na the Wizards, they're not just gonna roll over. No, they have to earn. The Sixers have to earn this, and they've collapsed in the playoffs before. So they have to overcome that complacency.
Okay, all right. Now let's be clear. I don't think that this is gonna be a steamroll kind of thing. The reason why is because I trust Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal enough that they're gonna win a couple of games. There's no way this is gonna be either a sweep or a gentleman's sweep where you're gonna see one game win from the Wizards and then we're gonna move on. No, this is gonna go 6 or 7 definitely. The reason is because I don't see. I thought I would see Ben Simmons lock down Bradley Beal. He did not. I thought we would see Russell Westbrook drop off in this series. We did not. I thought we'd see an overwhelming Joel Embiid. We did in spurts. But the score, the final one of that was 118-125. And I thought that was interesting because even in the fourth quarter with 1:20 to go, Russell Westbrook got called for what is probably, I don't blame the refs because in real time, there's no way you can't make that call, Mangood. Like his feet were literally centimeters or I don't even know what small it's. You couldn't tell, like from a.
But they weren't flat though.
The ref, like from the.
They weren't. No, they didn't come down though.
Mix in real time. Mix in real
time. I mean the angle.
I can't blame him. Like you have to make that call. Yeah, unless even if you're the coach and you're gonna talk to Westbrook and say, "Did you step on the bounds?" Like I wouldn't even know for real. Okay, so my shoe passes the line, but it's like literally centimeters off the ground. So I don't know if I did or I did not. But accordingly, after all the replays, Russell Westbrook did not step out of bounds. The score at that time was 116-121. What does that tell me? In a situation, and this happens a lot in the playoffs, in a situation where a team is supposedly favored to steamroll another, in a game where they did not, oftentimes the other team understands one thing and one thing only. They can beat this team. They do gain confidence from this. Sorry. They gain confidence from this game because they know that all that needs to happen is a missed shot here and there, a mistake here and there in crucial parts of the game. All of a sudden you have the momentum. All of a sudden you have everything going your way. And all of a sudden you got guys like Westbrook, who's super dynamic. You have a guy like Beal, who's an explosive type scorer. All of a sudden, you're right back in this series. You're right back in the game. And next thing you know, this thing could be going 1-1. This thing could be going 1-1. And that's, Wizards, Sixers. It could really go either way for me. Again, this might go to 6. I'm not sure really who would take it.
Yeah,
it's most likely Philadelphia. And we're going to be super excited. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, we're also gonna recap like the Knicks Hawks game and the Jazz Grizzlies game, and then we need to point out like the higher seeds. I mean it's so important. Game 1 is so important. Game 1 is so important because it sets the tone basically for the series, diba? And then if the lower seed wins game 1 and they take home court, now especially if it's a 1-8 or 2-7 series where the gap is just so big.
Yeah.
Now especially in those series, importante kaayo na the lower seeds don't give them any confidence. Like don't even give them a hint na don't even give them the idea na I think kaya ni namo sila. Diba? I mean, that's I mean, you can't afford that because
I think
like all these 7-8 teams, like they're gonna bring in they're bringing the heat, they're bringing the fight. because they want to win. Because it's it's them against the world basically, diba? Because no one's expecting them to win. So what the hell? They have nothing to lose.
No one's betting on these guys, right?
Everything to gain.
Exactly. And if for all those people who are following the NBA playoffs right now, let's give you a quick rundown of what happened in the past couple of days. So the Mavericks, the Luka Doncic-led Mavericks, actually beat the Los Angeles Clippers. What's gone viral over the weekend is a Kawhi Leonard poster where all three, I think it was Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Markieff Morris, were screaming in excitement over Maxi Kleber, and then all of a sudden the Dallas Mavericks turned it around. Luka Doncic with an incredible triple-double game. The Mavericks take the lead in that series, 1-0. Also in the Western Conference, sticking there, the Portland Trail Blazers upset the Denver Nuggets. Nikola Jokic had a good game. Michael Porter Jr. expectedly had a fairly good game as well. But the Portland Trail Blazers pulled this one out of the hat. Damian Lillard had a great game. Carmelo Anthony in his first game back. Well, not really his first game back. His first playoff series against his old team, the team that drafted him back in 2003, came up with 18 big points, and it was absolutely clutch because if there was one thing Portland needed was that third leading scorer for them, and Carmelo Anthony got that done for them. And then finally, another super, super close game. This wasn't really an upset because the Bucks actually pulled this one out via late-game heroics from Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton hits a jump shot over Duncan Robinson. The Bucks take the lead 1-0 in that series. But, Migs, the game that you talked about earlier, Knicks and Hawks, I thought it was super cool. Trae Young, this is the 4-5 matchup in the Eastern Conference. Trae Young, Ice Trae. Okay, we had an argument about him earlier in the season. Who was going to be better, him or Luka Doncic? I think, again, I'm never, ever going to give up on Trae Young. I think that he's superstar talent. I think he's an all-star. He's going to become an all-star. He's going to be in the MVP conversation sooner than later. And I thought that was a ballsy shot. That was a ballsy shot, Niggs, in the basketball capital of the world, the New York City, Madison Square Garden, the Mecca of basketball. Trae Young goes one way, crosses over left to right, fakes the ball one way to the right, goes up for a floater, screams at the crowd, screams at everyone. Why did it
quiet
get so
as fuck
quiet
in here?
Why?
It's quiet as fuck.
Quiet as fuck in here. Why is it so quiet? Because earlier in the game, apparently, a lot of people were saying, fuck you, Trae Young, and all that. He won't hear it again. Why are y'all so quiet now, Mix? Talk to me about Hawks Knicks. That was such an exciting game. It's a battle of the youngins with Young and Randall. Young came out on top, took game one, took home court advantage from the New York Knicks. What went right, what went wrong in that game?
Like, best game of the day, diba? I mean, is Trae Young...
Probably definitely best game of the day.
Is Trae Young the new villain for Knicks fans? Because that was the first time in a long time na, of course, they're back in the playoffs. They let in a lot of people for this game. And then he goes and shuts them the fuck
15,000, yes.
he shuts them up.
Man.
Like, it was so quiet. I was watching it live, and it's like, oh my god, it's so quiet. I mean, could hear a pin drop. You should, look on Spike Lee's face. Right. It's priceless. Priceless. And then, it was surprising.
You know what's funny to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, my god.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Yeah, you know what's funny to me is that Spike Lee knows better than good. Okay, you've been in so many situations in the past where you run your mouth and the other player or the best player in the other team gets you back for it. Come on, Spike Lee, you know better. Don't talk trash to Trae Young. Talk trash to John Collins. Talk trash to Clint Capella. Talk trash to Danilo Gallinari, who was once a Knick. Don't trash talk the best player on the other team. That makes absolutely no sense. As the old saying goes, don't poke the bear. The bear wakes up eventually, and in the form of Trae Young, will hit a floater to silence the entire New York Knicks crowd. So I think that, again, Spike Lee, you know better, man. Like, seriously? Come on, man. You gonna do that?
It's... And Trae Young was doing this, like running back down court.
It got really cold.
I think it was surprising. Cold. It was surprising to see a lack of defensive intensity from the Knicks, they cannot.
And they
win.
play that way they play that way throughout the season. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think it showed No, because this team does not exactly have a lot of playoff experience. Now, when you think about it, huh? I mean, who's the guy who's made the deepest playoff run? Probably Derrick Rose, Taj Gibson. Well, not a
The
lot,
Bulls
not a
guys,
lot.
the ex
Yeah,
Bulls.
yeah, the Bulls guys. And so
Yeah.
lack of defensive intensity. I mean, they really can't win with their offense, because they lack the personnel who can create their own shots. But even
That is,
so,
I
I
think
mean,
they understand that. Yeah.
yeah, but even so, Alec Burks was like big earlier. I mean, they would not have been in the game if not for Alec Burks and his 27
Yeah.
points. And he's been big for them the whole
True.
season. Kaso lang na nagka-COVID siya. So it's yeah, so
Yeah.
and a poor game from Julius Randle. No? Like poor game as in like so many bad shots, very inefficient. And again, the lack of playoff experience showed. And then credit to the
Yeah.
Hawks because the Hawks kept the game at a high pace, and the other guys really stepped up and they stepped up early. So I remember in the first quarter it was Kevin Werther was making a lot of big shots. John Collins made an impact, and Boyan Bogdanovic had a lot, had big contributions. I think he had like 18 points. And then again, Trae Young just took over in the last 5 minutes of the game. Like he was so aggressive, and he forced the refs. He forced the refs to send him to the line. Like make the fucking call, ref.
Yeah.
Diba? I mean,
Right.
And it's just it was really surprising because Trae Young is literally the smallest guy on the floor. And then
He is.
the Knicks had so much
Worst
trouble.
haircut
I
in
mean,
the
and I
league.
was hey, first team most bad haircut. I mean, it was surprising too na they didn't hunt him. Like they didn't hunt him more on offense. And I mean, there were a couple of plays
Which is the
RJ
key.
Barrett.
Yeah.
Like RJ Barrett posted him up and then he scored that, but then they didn't do enough of that. Like
Yeah.
I mean, seems obvious.
Yeah. Seems obvious what to do on the offensive end is try and force Nate McMillan's hand to at least try and take Trae Young out, or if you're not gonna take Trae Young out, at least tire him out in some way. This is the game plan that you see a lot of teams exploit when you're going up against, for example, the Golden State Warriors. Cleveland, back in 2015, 2016, did such an incredible job of that in almost any and every possession, they were hunting down Steph Curry every time down the floor. Whether it was against Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, LeBron James, J.R. Smith, Tristan Thompson, they were hunting down Curry every possession down the floor. If you remember Game 7, and the end result of that was, hey, you get a nice switch, you get Curry on you, it scores 89-88, 1 minute left on the clock, take a fadeaway jumper for Kyrie Irving, and it's again against Steph Curry. So it's funny that the Knicks didn't do a lot of that because, hey, Trae Young is arguably the smallest guy on the floor. Trae Young isn't exactly known for his defense.
Not even arguable.
Ball level. Not even he's not even known for defense. Period. Like he has a tendency to coast a lot on the defensive end. Trae Young is not an aggressive. He's not going to compete.
I think he had the worst defensive stats last season. I think he had the worst defensive stats last season.
Again, Trae Young is not known to defend. He will not defend. He's not going to do that simply because again, it's not his make or mold. Trae Young is known for those deep threes. He's known for taking, all these parking lot shots, circus layups, behind the back passes, flashing ones at that. That's what Trae Young's all about. If you're talking, negative. Trae Young is not known. Neither is Luka Doncic. And the reason why I bring that up is because, again, these two are somehow intertwined for the rest of their careers. For the most part, again, it was just, but irrespective of all of that, I thought the Knicks should have done a better job of upping the intent. This is the first time in a long time, again, New York Knicks fans have had so much tough luck over the past couple of years. And for their team to finally be back in the playoffs, for their team to be known for defense, I thought that they could have amped up the intensity. Because if you've heard, Migs, from a lot of these people who make comments about New York Knicks, they play like it almost feels like it's a playoff type atmosphere when you're playing the Knicks because of how intense they play defense.
I mean, no, they're on you, and they make it an ugly game, which is their game plan. They slow the game down. They're really intense. Everyone closes out on defense, which you don't see that much often, because everyone like all the what players do lang karon is like it's like a fake close out. They just raise their hands and then they're not really running
It's not even an
at the
aggressive
shooter.
one.
Yeah, I mean like
Yeah.
in the Knicks, like all 5 guys do that. Like are really like the legit close out. So it's fun to watch, but siguro lang it's still game 1 and it's a feeling out game. But the thing is, I mean, even yesterday, with Luka, like even with yesterday with Luka, and then the game after the Hawks Knicks game, Memphis Utah, like the youth movement is great sa playoffs karon. Diba? Like a lot of young teams, a lot of young stars making their mark, which is great for the NBA and great for us fans because this is the next generation. This is the next generation.
It is. So it's going to be super exciting to see again how because the 4-5 matchup in the Eastern Conference is pretty exciting. You got Trae Young versus Julius Randle. 2 guys will probably carry the league in the next 5, 10, maybe 15 years. I want to talk about the Western Conference here real quick. Jazz Grizzlies. The Grizzlies just came. The Grizzlies were the last team to make the NBA playoffs after knocking off the Golden State Warriors in the final play-in tournament game of the ending NBA season. You would think that they would be tired. You would think that they'd have every reason to say, all right, let's feel them out and let's go to game 2. But you would think that because they would probably, again, be tired. Their mindset might not have been there. But Dillon Brooks comes up with a game of a lifetime in game 1. You have to remember, the NBA playoffs are where legends are made. And Dillon Brooks sort of etched his name into Grizzly lore by coming up with a monster game 1 for the Grizzlies, of all teams, to take a 1-0 lead in this best-of-7 series. Here's how the West is looking. The Mavericks are up 1-0 against the Clippers. The Grizzlies are up 1-0 against the Utah Jazz. The Suns are up 1-0 against the favored Los Angeles Lakers. And who am I missing here? Oh, the Nuggets are down 1-0 against the Portland Trailblazers. No, I got Clippers Mavs earlier.
Clippers Mavs.
One game against Clippers. And then the Blazers won against the Denver Nuggets. There's only one team. Only one top seed is actually won in the Western Conference, and those are the Phoenix Suns. But then again, they're not favored to win this series. It's the Lakers. So technically, the teams that were favored to win have not won. This just goes to show you how incredibly strong the parity is in both conferences. Because in the East, okay, so you have the Sixers taking care of business against the Wizards, the Bucks taking care of business against Heat, but only by a margin of 2 points. The Nets taking care of the Celtics. That was a bit of a blowout. Okay, and then you have an absolute thriller in the Mecca with the Hawks winning over the Knicks. Okay, aside from the Nets Celtics matchup, I think that's going to be a bit of a breeze for the Brooklyn Nets. But the rest of these other series are pretty strong too. But talking about the Grizzlies and the Jazz first, what happened? And is Utah overrated? I think they are. I don't know. I mean, I'm just not. I was never convinced. When they made the playoffs. This is a top number 1 seed. Top of them, they're just not.
Hot take.
Very hot take.
Do we smell?
Ain't no trip.
Are we seeing a potential upset in the Grizzlies and Jazz series? But the thing, I mean, I know I listen to a lot of NBA podcasts, and then I don't know if it was the Ringer podcast or the Mismatch podcast with KOC and Verno. I think someone said na. We remember the play-in game between the Lakers and the Warriors, huh? Like, it was an edge though for the Warriors na they were through so many battles just this season, huh? They were already through so many battles together because they had to fight to get into that play-in tournament. And then when they got to that 8 to 10 spot, they had to fight to get to the 8th spot, diba? So I mean, so basically they were playing with play-in intensity the last 3 months of the season. Yeah. So that's
the problem.
And it's the same thing for the Grizzlies, but that's an edge for them because they've played in so many big games. And you look at the Jazz, they've been number 1 all season. They've had all their guys. I mean, the Jazz and the Suns are notable for not having any COVID problems. They didn't have any guys miss time due to COVID, which is ironic, no? Considering the Jazz were the first team last year. That had to be.
They were the first team. That's true. Also,
That's the first team last year. So Um, no, so it's you could see just the Grizzlies had a lot more fight in them. And then
That's
Dylan
true.
Brooks, man,
They
Dylan
did.
Brooks was like a beast in the third quarter earlier. Like
I,
it was mesmerizing to see her because this is a guy who is known more for his defense, and then he takes a lot of bad
that is
shots.
offense.
Yeah, like and he takes a
Yeah.
lot of bad shots. But then sa third quarter ganina, I mean, look, really he played really smart. He knew
Yeah.
how to create in space. Plus,
Right.
I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
Jeff. I don't know. There's just even if Donovan Mitchell comes back, I just it just feels like it's a potential upset because I mean I don't know, man. The Grizzlies, the, they're young and they're hungry and and Dylan Brooks is a fucking lunatic sometimes because he wants to fight everyone. It's really tough.
Yeah.
And then like
Tough guy.
Ja Morant, like everyone's saying like Ja Morant plays like Derrick Rose. I think Ja Morant actually plays more like Tony
Kind
Parker.
of.
Like for me, he plays a
Nah.
lot more
Yeah.
like Tony Parker because
Mm-mm.
he's not as explosive as Derrick Rose was. When he has those dunks,
True.
yes.
True. True.
But then, when he gets into the paint ba, he knows how to like take all that contact and still
Finish.
be balanced enough for that floater that
Yeah.
he uses. I mean,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
and hopefully Jaren Jackson is healthy enough to make an impact in this series because he had a very big play ganina na he ran down the
Mm.
other end, made a block, and then on
Right.
offense, caught it in transition to shoot a three. I mean, I don't know lang Jeffa, but it seems like it's a potential upset yun.
Okay, all right. So first of all, to all the Utah Jazz fans out there, and I know you're not a lot here in the Philippines. You're like a small community. You're almost like, it's like when America invaded the U.S. and you're like the Indian group. You're a small community here in the Philippines because for the most part, we all know there are a lot of Utah Jazz fans. But let me give you guys a little bit of relief here. This is not going to be an upset. The Grizzlies are eventually because there's one way that the Grizzlies play, and they play a lot in the paint. They're not a heavy 3-point shooting team. Not that I'm aware of. But if you watch the Warriors in the Grizzlies game, they really like to pound it in the paint. They didn't take a lot of outside shots, though they have a lot of guys who can actually space the floor. Xavier Tillman, J, even Jonas Valanciunas every now and then. And we didn't have Donovan Mitchell in this game. Okay? We didn't have Donovan Mitchell in this game, whom I think is the Jazz best playmaker, is their best scorer, and is their all-star in every sense of the word. So you're missing that vital cog, and you're against a team that's full of grit and grind. That's just been their mantra throughout the entire existence of the Memphis Grizzlies. They've been known for that, especially when they made the playoffs during the Zach Randolph and Mark Gasol years, the Tony Allen, Mike Conley, and how ironic is it that Mike Conley is going up against the Grizzlies, right?
Yeah.
And the OJ Mayo years, and the Rudy Gay years as well. So they're not going to be upset, and ultimately their style of play falls into how the Jazz would want to play. With a guy like Rudy Gobert manning the paint, I think that they're going to eventually figure it out. The Jazz are going to figure this out. Kirk Snyder, who's been a great coach all season long, will eventually have a game plan going into games 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you're going to see a lot because the Grizzlies are relatively young. And I think the biggest problem for them will definitely be their inexperience. And the reason why I say that is because you almost saw it against the Warriors. You almost saw it.
Yeah.
What were you going to do in the clutch? What are you going to do in a situation where you need a bucket? Desperately need a bucket. Are you going to call a play? Are you going to call pick and roll? Are you going to go ISO? Are you going to be able to see the matchup in front of you and actually take advantage? Or are you going to see the matchup elsewhere, find a way to exploit that? And I think that they did a good job of maintaining poise against the Golden State Warriors, who you would figure would be better suited for the situation, talking about the clutch at that. Where I think the Grizzlies will falter in this series is really with them trying to figure out, okay, so we won game 1. Now how do we take that momentum over to game 2, 3, 4, and 5? They don't have a lot of veteran voices in that locker room. Jonas Valanciunas, not really not that type of veteran. Apart from Jonas Valanciunas, there's actually nobody else on this roster who is a legit veteran. Okay, you got
Kyle Anderson,
Dylan Brooks, Triple J, Kyle Anderson, but he wasn't on those championship Spurs teams. He wasn't even on those
at
playoff
least,
Spurs teams. He was
at
probably
least he started off with that culture, and then he's moved. But the
He
thing,
did.
the challenge for the Grizzlies, diba? Because they're so young, and then you put it well kanina na, they have to channel that intensity into like still making the right plays, diba? Because sometimes like you're so
Yeah.
intense, na you're so fired up, na you get lost in the chaos. Na dili na you don't think of the right play anymore. You're so intense that you end up
Definitely.
fouling too much. You take bad shots, diba? Like a lot of heat check shots. So they have to watch out for that. But then, Jeff, no, I just have to point this out na like a lot of people were disappointed na the Warriors and Stephen Curry, they're not in the playoffs. But I'd like to argue na the Grizzlies being in the playoffs is actually better for the NBA because then we have a more competitive 1-8 matchup. Because siguro Stephen Curry would have
Be that.
taken advantage. Like Steph Curry would have taken advantage of Rudy Gobert. Utah would not have would have to avoid playing Gobert. But the thing is, like I still think sa play-in na to with between the 8-9, I think the better team still won. And the Grizzlies are a
Yeah.
better matchup for the Utah Jazz. It's gonna make
The
for a
Utah
better
Jazz.
series. And then no, Memphis
Uh-huh.
is still a small market, huh? So no, a small market gets a lot of coverage for the playoffs. I mean that's great for the NBA. Diba? I mean, I don't want to see a Warriors Jazz series where like the Jazz are just gonna dominate the Warriors. I mean, Steph might score 40 or in the high 30s, but
Right.
the Jazz are just gonna dominate the series. Now they actually have like a competitive series where no the Grizzlies might not end might still lose in 6 games, but they're gonna put up a fight, diba? And so it's gonna be more fun.
Right. Well, again, this actually leads me to the next topic that I wanted to cover with you. And it really revolves around. So you know how again it's about poise, it's about just the overall impact of the NBA playoffs to a lot of people in general. And it leads me to this part of the conversation where there are the NBA recently named its finalists for the MVP. Okay? You have Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, and Stephen Curry. Unfortunately, and whether or not we like to consider it or you want to rule it out, Stephen Curry, I think, does not deserve to win the MVP anymore because his team is not even in the playoffs. You have to at least be in the damn playoffs, okay? You at least have to be in the damn playoffs. Why? In every writer's mind, and again, in every person's mind, when you're tasked to come up with the voting for the NBA's most valuable player or any award at that, you also factor in how they play in the bright lights. In this case, the NBA playoffs. Stephen Curry's name is not there. I think Nikola Jokic got hurt a bit with his loss earlier against the Blazers, but then again, it leaves much to be desired because we still have a long series ahead of us. Joel Embiid has sort of started to really etch his name onto that award, and makes this is what I want to talk to you about. So, with the season already drawing to a close, and with us looking to evaluate players already in the NBA playoffs, how strong is Embiid's case over Jokic? Because Stephen Curry is definitely out. Like players can say that he deserves it all they want.
Yeah.
But you at least got to make the NBA playoffs, and you don't, and you're not there. So how is it fair to Jokic and Embiid, who, in the entire span of the NBA season, they've more than played well enough for them to be considered MVP?
Yeah, I mean, Stephen Curry has had a terrific season, diba? I mean, there's no doubt about that, and he's still he still should be in the conversation. I think he deserves to be in the conversation lang. But if he would win, that would be a disservice to the value of playing winning basketball.
Exactly.
It's not Joel Embiid's fault. It's not Jokic's fault na Stephen Curry does not have Klay Thompson this season. So why should their MVP season suffer for that? But then as to the Embiid versus Jokic question, I think I'm still leaning Jokic because he's been better for longer. And then Embiid had a hot start, and yes, he did get hurt after the All-Star break. But then I think there was a concerted effort on the Sixers to, like, when they secured the 1 seed, or like when they really saw na they were gonna have home court for the playoffs. Na they were trying to taper Joel Embiid's minutes in the last few games, last month of the season, because I think because they know that they have a legit chance. I mean, when you look at it, yes, Jokic had a better individual season than Embiid, but who after Jamal Murray's injury, di ba? I think klaro man na it's the Sixers who have legit championship aspirations. So it made sense for the Sixers to decrease Embiid's minutes in the last few games of the season. So it tapered off. And I think Embiid was aware na the conversation was turning into it's Jokic as a definite MVP. I think he's aware of that. So I think we also saw a dip in intensity from him the last few games of the season. But then, unfortunately, the playoffs do not count sa MVP voting. I mean, we have to point that out. Even Stephen Curry's numbers during the play-in, they do not count. All the stats in the play-in tournament, they do not count as part of the stats for the playoffs, nor do they count as part of the stats sa regular season. You have to make that clear, guys.
Okay. All right. Let me chime in on that. The only time I felt like it was a well-deserved MVP, but this person lost during the playoffs was during the We Believe Warriors. Now that run, where Dirk Nowitzki led the Dallas Mavericks to a 67-15 season, and then they lost ultimately to the We Believe Warriors because it was to me a situation where it's a matchup problem. They can't match up with their speed. They can't match up with their small ball. And all these guys are flying in for rebounds. Ultimately, they lost to, who would have thunk it? The beat you down in the post Jazz. Carlos Boozer, Mehmet Okur, Andre Kirilenko. There was Matt Harpring was still the shooting guard, and Darren Williams. So that team posted them up and really took advantage of their size, which the Dallas Mavericks did not do. Rather, what they did was play into the Warrior style, which is run and gun. Bad idea. That was the only time where I thought it was okay to award somebody the MVP because he had such a great season. You can't fault it. Again, the Mavericks were the number one seed during that time, and they had a 67-15 record. With this situation, Curry, no. Definitely not. I'm not faulting him. He had a great season, but it's also a discredit to Jokic and Embiid. They have had also really great seasons as well. It's a season MVP. I get, but overall, in the grand scheme of things, when you're looking at the performance, all three across the board, you can definitely argue Jokic and Embiid have a bigger argument than Stephen Curry. Did they make the playoffs? No. Did they have that winning of a record? No. Did Stephen Curry carry the Warriors? Yes, for the most part of the year. But did they win? No. How is that? They didn't even make the playoffs. So I'm scratching Curry off the list. He'll probably again be in the conversation. Probably get a couple of second and third place votes, but he's not going to get any first place votes for me. Now, talking about the Sixers and the Nuggets situation, and I'm talking about Embiid and Jokic. Jokic, yes, great season, great year, might be a shoo-in, but hold on. Joel Embiid earlier in the game against the Wizards kind of showed why he is in the MVP conversation and why he deserves to win the MVP. At that, there were a couple of plays where I thought, okay, they're probably going to stop him, but he looked like a man amongst boys. I think I even mentioned this in the group chat. Joel Embiid looking like he's playing with a bunch of little dudes out there. There was a play where it was Bertans, Gafford, and I think Robin Lopez. They tried to triple team Embiid down the block. Embiid goes straight up and literally just dumps the ball in the hole, and he looked like Shaq for a minute. He also had these, shimmy, Hakeem Olajuwon dream shake moves. So I was like, why is there an argument? This guy deserves to be MVP. And that's the main reason why Joel Embiid deserves to win MVP for me this year because, yeah, Jokic has had a great year, but when you're carrying your team now in a situation where, again, the limelight is on, the spotlight's on you, your time is now. Perform at the highest level of basketball anywhere in the world, the NBA playoffs. Joel Embiid is coming through for the Philadelphia 76ers. Nikola Jokic, y'all lost game one, but I don't think the Nuggets will lose this series. Ultimately, it'll be super close because the Blazers are not a team that's just going to lay down and die. They won game one, but it's going to be very close. The Nuggets are going to have their hands full with this one. But again, Joel Embiid is, to me, the clear-cut MVP, and it's not even an argument right now because he has just shown how purely dominant he is in the regular season and in the playoff. I don't even know why you're nodding like it's not an argument.
I get where you're coming from, but
he looks so dominant. Like,
Yeah,
wow.
he is, and he's so much better. This version of Joel Embiid is so much better than last year's version, and we thought last year's version was
Oh,
already pretty good,
by
diba?
and large, by and
But
large.
the thing is, I just value, like, being better for longer, and then, the Nuggets, no matter what, barring the Jamal Murray injury here, and we have to point out that Jamal Murray was not the only injury they had this season. They lost
Oh
Paul
yeah, Paul
Millsap,
Millsap.
like Paul Millsap for a lot. Will Barton was gone for a lot, and then even uh, Harris, what's his first name? The guy they traded.
Gary Harris.
Yeah, Gary Harris.
Gary Harris.
Even Gary Harris, when he was still in the Nuggets, he was not playing because he was hurt this season. But still, no, they were within that 3, 4, 5 range in a very loaded
Yeah.
Western Conference. So I mean, I
Understood.
value that more. So, and it's gonna be. Uh, I think what voters are gonna look into is just, if the team records are virtually more or less equal, diba? I mean, there's not a big gap between the
Yeah.
Nuggets at 3 and then
It will be the
the
narrative.
Sixers. I mean, it's the narrative. It's
I
it's
mean,
gonna be the individual stats, definitely.
exactly. It'll be the narrative, definitely. And it's gonna be, to me, Migs. It's gonna be probably one of the closest MVP races that will ever be called in NBA history. It's gonna be super
Might be,
close
might be,
because, again,
might be.
I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm making my case for Embiid,
Yeah,
but I'm also, in the back of my mind, I also think, yeah, Jokic should actually also win it. He's been the shoe-in to win the MVP for so long, and then Embiid now in the NBA playoffs is sort of showing why people even put him in the conversation in the first place. He's showing his mettle, he's showing his dominance, and it's very, very, very apparent that the Wizards are having such a hard time stopping him in the post, especially guys who are like probably half his weight in Daniel Gafford, David Bertans, and Robert Lopez. They don't look like, pound for pound. It looks like they just can't
man among
carry
boys.
Embiid, but that Embiid powers them up. He's a man among boys, and again, and it's not to say that Embiid is like Shaq, where he's just going to overwhelm you with his power. Embiid is such a skilled scorer. He can shoot from the outside, from the three, from the perimeter, from mid-range. Wherever you put this guy, he can go out and get buckets. And it's even scary because if he's shooting, technically, like Anthony Davis, he's sort of bailing you out. But he's making these at a higher clip than Anthony Davis at this point in time.
Yeah.
Imagine if he's just going to make a concerted effort to run you down in the paint, where you have absolutely no choice but to digest elbows and then absolutely get hurt, probably get sent to the ER, but then Joel Embiid still scores on you. So that's why I think, and Jokic to me, my good, it's just not overwhelming. Like, okay, you make a couple of good plays,
Oh, I
make a
mean,
couple of shots. Yeah, he's great.
I mean, you should have seen. I mean, yeah, they lost that game now, but I mean, you should have seen how easy Jokic made it look. I mean, it didn't matter who was on him. No, it was Nurkic, it was Cantor. Sometimes it was Covington for a stretch. Like, no matter what they did, no, they could not. They could not rush him.
Wait. First of all, the only defender that's even credible in the Portland Trail Blazers to defend Jokic is Nurkic, and he's not even that good a defender.
Yeah, I mean,
He's Cantor, for the love of God.
Yeah,
okay?
but
he's half percent.
Wait, but Enes Kanter is widely recognized as one of the strongest guys in the NBA. But then,
I'm not saying he's
the only point I'm trying to make. I mean, you look at the Wizards; they don't have a lot of post defenders as well. I mean, yeah, Robin Lopez, but is Robin Lopez really the post defender that can take? You can argue na they're at the same level ni Nurkic as a defender, but I'm just saying that the point I'm trying to make is that it doesn't really matter what type of coverage you give Jokic, because he just plays the game at his own pace, and he's like low key very. I think he's low key very strong. Because again, go back to that Jazz Nuggets game last season. He muscled his way down low to get that hook shot off of Rudy Gobert. And then I know he's just overall better now, because as ridiculous as the Sambor shuffle looks, it's a legit offensive threat now. And I don't know, Jeff. He just makes the right play. I For me lang, it's just so clear cut na if I have to explain it, I mean, it's useless to explain it for me because it's just so clear cut, and that's wala na ako point.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll say this again. I said it earlier. I'll say it again. It's going to be one of the closest MVP races in NBA history because, again, even me, like, okay, I want Embiid, but also I just can't take the Jokic argument and put it aside and say that it's something that I cannot take into account. I have to because Jokic is, for the most part, a very credible MVP candidate. All right, and this brings us to. Hold on. Is it playing?
Oh, show you.
$1 million question presented by our newest showroom.ph. It's actually one of the best up-and-coming startups in the real estate business. Showroom.ph. The best homes, the best prices. Go to showroom.ph's. But they're actually still working on their website. But go to facebook.com/theshowroom.ph and look for the best home deals in the Queen City of the South. Here we go. $1 million. Let me play it one more time, just so that everybody gets a good idea. All right, one more time. $1 million question time by showroom.ph. We're not your regular run-of-the-mill show. We actually have sponsors. Okay, here we go.
We're moving up.
So, $1 million question time. We're moving up in the world, man. Yeah. So, here's a question. $1 million question. All right, we've talked about the NBA playoffs for the most part of this entire conversation. Migs, in a nutshell, first, I have two questions. First question is this. Which team, Eastern and Western Conference, pick one only, which team will get the upset? Okay? Which team will get the upset? And the second question is, ultimately, which team makes a comeback?
In the East, I don't know if you can even consider if the Hawks win against the Knicks as an upset because I mean it's a 4-5 series. Diba? It's a 4-5. So they're too close to like and we have 2-7 Boston, Brooklyn. No, there's not gonna be an upset there. 3-6. I think the biggest upset that I mean the potential upset lang that's like realistic. It's the Bucks Heat series because I think in the back of like the Bucks players' minds, at the back of Giannis's mind, he's thinking, "Oh my God, this team has beat us." Like this team has beat us before. And then
but Drew Holiday is the difference.
Drew Holiday is the difference. and I think in the Heat, like I've been saying this too, all season na they really miss Jay Crowder. It's really clear that they miss him. They have an over reliance on guys like Trevor Ariza and Andre Iguodala. I mean, they're still okay, but they play 20-25 minutes each. I mean, no, that's not gonna work.
They're too old.
But you never know. You never know with Jimmy Butler, like a really ripped Jimmy Butler, a healthy Bam. Hopefully, I mean, and Derek pointed this out last week. Tyler Hero has been hot the last few games, so it's that's the only like realistic potential upset in the East. In the West, though, I mean, things are a lot closer in the West, diba? Because again, it's just such a loaded conference. As much as I love the Grizzlies and the Jazz, I mean the Grizzlies winning over the Jazz, I really want to see the Mavs beat the Clippers, cause it would be the biggest of all, like the highest forms of karma, basketball karma, diba? Because here you have the Clippers tanking their game so they avoid the Lakers. And then all of a sudden, game one, I know it's just game one, but Luka Doncic gave them like
looking really good, super.
And Kristaps looked all right. I mean, Kristaps looked all right in game one, and then there are hints of pandemic P, playoff P, making a return.
Pandemic P,
diba? I mean, and I just want to see Patrick Beverley lose, man. I hate that guy. Like he's the one NBA player I legit hate.
Okay, like I hate Draymond Green, you hate Patrick Beverly. Eastern Conference. I'm gonna start off with the Eastern Conference. If there's any team that can legit, because the Heat and the Bucks, I don't think they're really much of an upset. Not in my eyes. I think the Heat can definitely take the Bucks if they did what they did last year. Drew Holiday is going to be a big difference, but I don't know. I mean, I just see the Bucks taking that, and with Drew Holiday in the fold, it just takes the Bucks to a different level, and we're going to see a lot of that going into this entire series. I just don't know why, but I'm seeing the Wizards and the Sixers. If there's any team that can prove an upset, it's the Beal and Westbrook combination, because I just don't see Danny Green and Ben Simmons being able to put the clamps on Westbrook or Beal. I just don't. And we saw that throughout Game 1. They were not able to hold Bradley Beal. The score was still pretty close. For an 8 seed that wasn't even supposed to be in the playoffs, they had a 0.4 chance, was it, of making the playoffs right around mid-March, and all of a sudden they're here. And I think that they have a lot of confidence. They know that if they were ever to take a shot in the Sixers, if this was it, they can stand up and say, we're gonna start swinging haymakers in games 2 and moving forward. So this Wizards to me are going to be a very interesting team, and that's also because I'm a big fan of Russell Westbrook. In the West, I would say the Lakers, but they're not. I mean, they're the favorites to win that series, so I'm not gonna say.
I mean, the Lakers are not a real 7 seed.
No, but they're not a real 7 seed. So it's going to be interesting how that series will unfold ultimately. But you're right, I do have the same series. The Mavericks and the Clippers, simply because you're right. I do want to see Patrick Beverly lose. He's just so annoying. He's one of those guys. He's like you don't ask him to me. Like, yeah, just come in and just muck people up. Like, you're not even playing. You're not there to play basketball. You're just there to hurt people and piss people off.
Yeah, I mean,
and you go out and you're like, yeah, I'm a leader. Come on, really, just play ball.
I mean,
for me. Like,
that's the difference. That's the difference in Patrick Beverly, no, from all the other like energy guys like Tony Allen, Deshaun Stevenson, because like Tony Allen, Deshaun Stevenson, they played legit defense. Like Patrick Beverly calls himself a first team all defense guy, but all he does is foul guys. Like he commits too many fouls.
He annoys.
And then
he annoys guys. Like it's not defense.
And you're right, Jeff. Like he's a real dirty player.
Yeah. I know, but again, when you're talking about defense, there's only 2 guys to me who you should watch if you want to grow up and you want to be a 3-and-D guy, a perfect one at that. Drew Holiday, Kawhi Leonard. That's it. There's nobody else on that list. Perimeter-wise, there's nobody else on that list. Watch Drew Holiday, how he defends. Watch how he angles everybody to where he wants them to go. Yeah. Watch that clip of Drew Holiday guarding Kawhi Leonard and tell me if Drew Holiday is not first-team all-defense. Hell, tell me if he's not worthy of being Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, yes.
Because he does this night in and night out, and he is super solid. Super solid.
As a point guard, too.
I can never fault Drew Holiday. As a point guard, and he can defend 1 through 4. Not sure about the 5. Okay? But now let's move on to the next question. All right, which team can make a comeback when all is said and done? Let's start with the East.
Wait, if the Suns win over the Lakers, considering that the Lakers are favored,
is that an upset?
Do you consider that an upset?
That's just not really. Still, I mean, because
weird
it's like a battle of 2 seeds. Super weird series. I mean, it's a battle of 2 seeds. Okay, like it's like the champion is going to come out of that series for me. Whoever wins that series is probably going to be champion. Something like that, you know. Like you already know this is the best playoff series you're probably going to get. So, yeah, which team ultimately makes a comeback?
Oh man, because it's still, you know, one game pa lang, so it's too early. But I think na just because of the construction of their team, the Nets are they're at a precarious position of the Nets because James Harden just came back and we don't know if he's 100% healthy now. I mean, he still puts up the numbers, of course, no. But we don't know if that hamstring is 100% na, and then so again complacent. They might get complacent, and then Jason Tatum might just go for a 50 piece in the next 3 games. You never know.
You never know with Tatum. You never know.
Yeah, because you know I think it's a lot. I mean, the gap between 1 and 8 to 7 in the East is like that's a legit gap, no ba? Between like the seeding. But in the West, it's so much closer than the seeding, diba? I mean, look at the Lakers. I mean, it's just the record lang, but it's much closer than it appears. But so in the West, who makes a comeback? Yeah, like in the West, who makes a comeback? I think Denver has what it takes to make a comeback. But again, it's just 1 game. Ako lang
True.
ako lang with the Denver Portland series. I think that's gonna go 7 games because I don't
Okay.
understand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand the game plan of Coach Malone. I mean, Campaso is a terrific defender. He's a good defender, very feisty.
It's too short.
But then, yeah, he's too small. He's too small against Damian Lillard, and then Damian Lillard he just runs Campaso through these screens. So I mean, why not? I mean, risk it. Aaron Gordon is a very athletic defender. No, I know he's big.
I put.
No,
I'm confused.
yeah,
I didn't do
there's
that from the beginning. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so why not? Like, that's what he's there for, diba? He's supposed to be the stopper. So use him
Exactly.
because if you're not putting your best defender on Damian Lillard, where are you putting Aaron Gordon? Is he like just the wiper who goes for these passes? I mean, it's
honestly, okay. So who was the 2 guard for the Nuggets? I just want to be sure because you can actually go a lineup where you have Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Paul Millsap, Nikola Jokic, and if I'm not mistaken, who's the 2 guard? I can't remember. No, not Campaso. The other guy. Who's the 2 guard?
oh no. Monte Morris. The
Is it
guy who
Monte
makes
Morris?
all
Because
those
you can actually, yeah.
all those mid-range shots, diba? Like the mid-range guy.
Yeah.
I think it's Monte Morris, yeah.
So I mean, you actually, so you can actually go a lineup of that nature, and I'm confused why the Denver Nuggets haven't gone with that kind of matchup, right? So from my end, here's the comebacks. The Knicks, simply because it's not even really a comeback again. We just started, but it seems like it's brewing. You can see it that there's a little bit of a thing going on between Trae Young and the New York crowd, and the New York Knicks. I'm more than happy to bring the noise back and make Trae Young hear it. I can't wait to see that unfold. And then over on the other side, you're right. I still have the Nuggets actually because it kind of seems a little bit bleak. The 3-6 matchup is normally there's a big discrepancy in the records, and ideally there'd be a big discrepancy in the level of play or the level of the team's play. But because Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum are all of a sudden peaking or gaining momentum towards peaking, it's sort of like Nikola Jokic and the rest of the Nuggets are at a disadvantage. But they're not. I think that they make a comeback. I think that they make it all the way. I think they win this playoff series, and ultimately you're going to see the Nuggets move on to the next round of the playoffs. Ultimately. And with that, an hour long and 7 minutes of talking to Miggy. That means we're at the
best hour and 7 minutes of your day, man.
Thank you so much. For sure. Best hour and 7 minutes of my day usually, just talking about hoops, man. It's always a lot of fun when you get to talk about something you love. So, from my end here at NBA, and by the way, super thank you to Showroom.ph for the sponsorship. We appreciate it so much. And of course, again, guys, to anybody who's looking for a top of the line deal for any home in the Queen City of the South, please look up Facebook.com/showroom.ph. Find the best deal for you there. And for me, I just want to thank everybody who supports NBA Front Row. Very soon, you might be seeing a couple of free stuff here and there. Migs, what do you have?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the free stuff. Can't wait for the free stuff. Like when you said free stuff, like my eyes just lit up. And then just a big thank you to everyone who supported us since day one. We've come a long way, and we still have a long way to go. So just keep tuning in, keep sharing, keep liking, keep telling others to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then
amen. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and to all the basketball fans out there, like appreciate. And I made a post about this last week, diba? Like to all the basketball fans out there, appreciate this moment, this time in the history of basketball because it's such a great time to be a basketball fan, Karon. I mean, the sport has never been better. There are so many good players, and just the accessibility to basketball. I know it's a pandemic, so we still can't play yet here in the Philippines, but just the accessibility to all these resources of basketball training, of conditioning. We get to see all these moves. It's a great time for basketball. And us little guys, those guys 6 feet and under, we can really actually believe na we can make it, because of the shooting. So guys, it's a great time to be a basketball fan. Great time.
It is a great time to be a basketball fan. And with that, this has been Jaff. This has been Migs. There's going to be a lot more playoff action in the coming days. Stay tuned. We will be more than happy to bring you up to speed on all that action. Again, Jaff, Migs, we're out. We'll see you on Wednesday.